Sci-fi masterpieces not to be missed in 2026. Project Emperor, Legacy of the Monsters, finally US hears in a sequel. This season has an investment of up to $200 million. Whether it is scenes or special effects, it is definitely a ceiling-level existence. King Kong and Godzilla will also join forces again, face the undersea titans comparable to gods together. The start of the season is a critical hit. Skull Island boys are wreaking havoc. The heroine Kate and others have just returned from the inner world. I didn't even drink a single water. As a result, the escape journey began again. They sat in a helicopter, watching the research station built by Apex with their own eyes. It was destroyed in an instant, and passed by the enraged King Kong. I don't know how long it took. Keiko woke up from her coma. I saw several medical staff standing next to me. She instinctively rushed out of the room, until I pushed open the door at the end of the aisle. Only then did I realize that I was actually in the middle of an ocean. Dazi explained loudly that followed. This is the maritime outpost of Project Emperor 18. And in the command room of this giant ship, it's not just King Kong. We're arguing so much, because the situation on Skull Island was completely out of control. Not just King Kong. It's not just King Kong. The other animals also fell into inexplicable mania. Tech executive Tim shook his head in anger. They had been making peace with King Kong before. Someone must have done something. Offended the creatures on the island. At this time, there was an slamming of the door from upstairs. Others were able to do it. Deputy Director Natalie had to deal with them first. She admitted that thanks to the help of Apex, Kate and the others were able to do it. Successfully escaped from the inner world. Kiko's face was ugly. She still hasn't adapted. The dazzling electronic facilities on the surface, due to the different speed of time flow in the inner world. Keiko was just trapped there for dozens of days. The only regret is that, if it weren't for Shore's unintentional invasion of the inner world, Keiko still doesn't know how long she will stay there. The only regret is that, in order to help everyone escape, took the initiative to jump out of the life-saving capsule and stayed in the center of the earth. Thinking of this, Kiko's heart was full of guilt. She prayed that the Imperial organization could send people, go to the center of the earth to rescue Shore. However, Natalie said on the spot, now is not the time, because she suspects King Kong's riot. The Epic Company. If the tunnel to the center of the earth is opened again, God knows what the consequences will be. And now Skull Island is very chaotic. Landing on the island rashly is tantamount to suicide. Kiko's emotions are getting more and more agitated. She can't listen to any advice at all. In desperation, everyone can only inject her with a sedative. Kiko's mental power is seriously overdrawn. Kate found her father alone. Kate found her father alone. Since the San Francisco Behemoth incident, this incompetent father played with the disappearance. Kate flew over most of the world to find relatives. If Shore hadn't taken care of her all the way, I'm afraid she would have died long ago. Now that Shore is suddenly in disaster, Kate can't stand by. Dazi can't rest assured that her daughter will go on an adventure alone. Finally agreed to accompany her to Skull Island. And in another single dormitory, the person in charge of Apex found Xiaomei. Frankly said that they were researching how to coexist with the giant beast. I hope Xiaomei can change her mind. Continue to work for the company. Listen to the many benefits promised by the person in charge. Xiaomei frowned and thought for a long time. Finally rejected the proposal. In fact, she loves adventure in her bones. During this time with Kate and others, let Xiaomei rediscover the excitement of life. When Kate proposed to sneak into Skull Island to save Shore, she nodded in agreement without any hesitation. But the current solution is to escape from this sea outpost. Xiaomei came to the monitoring room as if nothing had happened. Wait until Kate and others appeared on the screen. She fussed and had nothing to say. Wait until everyone successfully reached the surveillance blind spot of the escape capsule. Wait until everyone successfully reached the surveillance blind spot of the escape capsule. Xiaomei quickly arrived to join. Before the guards on the ship could react, a speedboat sped towards Skull Island. I don't know why. The area around the island was shrouded in dense dark clouds. There seemed to be a terrifying monster hidden in it. Kate and the others rushed in without fear. A moment through the thick fog, everyone's eyes suddenly opened up. The scenery here is beautiful. It was as if they were in another world. However, behind this beauty, there was a deadly murder intention. Kate and the others landed on Skull Island very smoothly. They fixed the speedboat on the beach. Then they continued towards the dense jungle. From time to time, birdsong sounded in their ears. Everyone unconsciously let their guard down. Suddenly, a shrill roar came from the front. A pterosaur landed on the treetops in front of it. Dazi and Kate looked at each other. The anxiety in his heart was all written on his face. Who knew the next moment? A thunder and lightning beast swooped down. Instantly killed the pterosaur on the treetops. Everyone was so frightened that they didn't dare to come out. Hiding in the woods, they saw it with their own eyes. The thunder and lightning beast dug out a big worm on the ground. After filling its stomach, it spread its wings and left. Several people breathed a sigh of relief. It was a re-realization of the horror of this jungle. But soon they realized the danger they had experienced before was nothing. Because lying on the plain ahead was the real owner of Skull Island. Fortunately, the other party was lying on the ground and sleeping soundly. The chest was shaking and the ground was shaking. A few people held their breath and planned to quietly go around. Xiaomei accidentally stepped on a dead branch. A crisp sound echoed in the wilderness. Everyone froze in place in an instant. Fortunately, King Kong was not woken up. The thunderous snoring continued. But before they could breathe a sigh of relief, a huge palm slapped over. Several people's faces were terrified, but they saw Kate intact. Walked out of his fingers. It turned out that King Kong just turned over. And at this time, in the sea outpost, Keiko has woken up from her deep sleep. She casually came to the control room, looking at the full screen of holographic devices and automation instruments. Keiko's eyes were full of shock. I didn't expect that in just a few decades. Human technology has advanced to such an extent. Bearded Tim hurriedly made a supplement. These technological means can only collect and process data. As knowledgeable. Still requires Keiko to be as knowledgeable. Experienced leader. Keiko was thinking about how to save shore. With this detection device, they could avoid the beast. Return to the outpost on Skull Island. However, Natalie still refused to take the risk. She clicked on the video of the attack the night before. The base guards were in front of this behemoth. Simply vulnerable. At this time, Keiko noticed a detail in the picture. Wait until the video freezes. Everyone sees a dark corner. There is a strange creature lying. Keiko recognizes the other party from the inner world at a glance. It should have been when the space passage was opened the day before yesterday. Followed by, and King Kong has a strong sense of territory. Maybe that's why it went crazy for no reason. At this time, a subordinate came to report. They found that a lifeboat on the deck was missing. And Kate and the others disappeared for no reason. Natalie concluded that these people must have gone to Skull Island. And at this time, Kate and the others had already arrived at the outpost that was attacked by King Kong the night before. Gamma simulator next to it was not damaged. It was just left on hold for a long time and ran out of power. The Gamma simulator next to it was not damaged. It was just left on hold for a long time and ran out of power. It needs to be recharged to start. Everyone didn't dare to delay. It was decided that the troops would split into two routes to repair the shuttle machine as soon as possible. Taishi father and daughter checked the equipment. Taro and his girlfriend Xiaomei ran too. The power distribution room restarted the power. Suddenly, a ball of electric sparks appeared. A shrill roar came out of the shadows. Two people hid behind the distribution cabinet. Actually saw one. The huge giant rat rushed out. Xiaomei was so frightened that she ran wildly, seeing that she was about to be caught up by the monster. At the critical moment, Taro rushed out with a forklift. The giant rat was pushed against the wall and quickly lost movement. Taro and the two walked out of the power distribution room with lingering fears. Quickly rushed into the thick fog. It didn't take long to arrive. Quickly rushed into the thick fog. It didn't take long to arrive. The ruins of Kate's outpost. The purpose of their visit is to prevent the teleportation channel from being opened. What if any geocentric creature comes to the surface? No one can predict what kind of disaster this will bring. Kate's mind flashes. The image of Shore sacrificing everyone himself to save her again and again. Her eyes suddenly became resolute. Despite objections, resolutely activated the space teleportation device. Strong energy fluctuations spread out. The sleeping King Kong suddenly raised his head. Not far away, the spherical cabin was forcibly sucked into the teleportation channel. And at this time in the inner world of the Earth, Shore was lying on the ground, looking at the bizarre scene above his head. The fear in his heart was getting worse. Was he going to be trapped in this hellish place forever? Night. Unexpectedly, the road ahead was blocked by a huge wild boar. Shore stopped in place and held his breath, with his right hand slowly reaching out a dagger. Just as he was about to give it a go, the sky above him was torn open by a blinding white light. The boar monster instantly escaped without a trace. Shore saw a spherical pod fall from a distance. Realizing that his companion's rescue had arrived, he ran quickly in the direction of the fall. However, he stopped after a few steps. A huge mountain is collapsing rapidly. A large swarm of disturbed bugs gathering in this direction. Shore curses, quickly running to the spherical chamber. Just as he was about to get in the distance he saw the collapsed mountain. A huge tentacle monster appeared. Shore took a deep breath. He punched hard to chase away the little bugs that tried to get in. After locking the ceiling lid, he immediately started the engine. The spherical cabin seemed to have received some kind of summons. Quickly flew towards the pillar of light passage. But what didn't expect was the huge tentacle monster even got into the passage and came to the surface. What they were most worried about happened. Not long after the monster left, the spherical cabin that Shore was riding in also flew out. But before everyone could rejoice, King Kong walked slowly with monstrous anger. But it didn't deliberately hurt people. Instead, he smashed the teleportation device into pieces with a punch. The colorful space passage closed instantly. Everyone helped Shore quickly board the helicopter. Through the cabin glass, they saw King Kong chasing the tentacles to the beach. An unwilling roar King Kong let out an unwilling roar. And Kate would never have thought. Opened the space passage by herself. Unexpectedly released such a terrifying monster. Keiko's eyes were full of worry. The strange appearance of the tentacle monster reminded her of the adventure in 1957. At that time, the trio of Keiko, Billy and Shore, according to the clues of the Titan behemoth, traced to the southern waters of Chile. According to the Maritime Archives, there are often anomalous vortices here. There are also reports of sightings of huge sea creatures. The goal of their trip is to find the legendary giant sea monster. Wait until night is about to fall. The three of them arrive at an island village, looking at the large birds flying over their heads. Every door is there. The village is deserted and there are no people, but every door is there. They all hung totem marks in the shape of sea snakes. The villagers looked at several people very vigilantly, as if they were guarding some shocking secret. There was a stone pier with a sense of age in the center of the square. There were still dried bloodstains in the mottled notches. Billy could only speculate on the positive side. This is where the villagers cleaned up their fisheries. Village. The originally noisy hall instantly fell silent, and Billy's gaze, but he was attracted by the biological specimen on the beam. He wanted to take a picture to record it, but he was rudely interrupted by the villagers. Seeing that the conflict was about to break out, the proprietress stopped it at the right time. Full of strangeness. Yes, yes. Shore and the others gathered up and sat down, but their eyes were still fixed on the strange creature. This village was full of strangeness. Maybe you can really find clues to the deep-sea beasts. At this time, the bar proprietress walked up took the initiative to invite the handsome Billy to dance with him. But this straight man was thinking about the underwater giant. His dance steps were orderly, but he was asking everyone for clues about the sea monster. The proprietress admitted that the villagers here directly worship the sea monster as a god, would never reveal half of the news. She advised Billy and the others to leave here as soon as possible. Seeing that everyone was unmoved, the proprietress decided to show them something. She would definitely change her mind when the time came. It didn't take long for a few people to come to a cave. They turned a few corners in a row. They were on the innermost rock wall of the cave. They saw a large number of murals. Keiko noticed one of the portraits. 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 It is a huge tentacle monster. It was only then that she suddenly woke up. Could it be that the Titan behemoth released by Kate is the sea god worshipped by the villagers? King Kong is a well-deserved king on land. But if the battlefield is changed to the ocean, it is estimated that there is no way to deal with this tentacle monster. The above is Monster Legacy, the first episode of the second season. It seems that the budget for this show is really sufficient. The amount of monsters has been significantly improved. I hope to continue to work hard in the future, bring you a better visual experience. Viewers who don't remember the content of last season, you can click on the guide link at the end of the video. Archie's one breath commentary. It will definitely not disappoint.